Okie dokie. So let's go and stand on the mat, feet together, and then step toes apart and bring heels in line. And just take a moment to check in with how we're doing this evening. Just notice how your body feels. See if you can shut out all that other stuff that's been going on all day. Forget about what's going on for tea. Just tune into what you can feel through your feet, and then slowly scan up through the legs, noticing any sensations, just taking in any information about how your ankles are, your lower leg, your knees, coming up into those thighs and around the hips. And then just noticing around the pelvis and the lower back, how that feels. Coming up into the mid and the upper back. Noticing your shoulders and your arms, just how they are. Your neck, and finally your head. Just take all that in for a moment or two. Have a nice couple of deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then when you're ready, starting to roll those ankles in and out gently. Noticing how they move, how those feet move, whether they feel the same on each side, whether they move nice and easily, or if they're a bit stiff and stuck. One of mine seems to be crunching, doesn't normally do that. Maybe have a little look at them and see if they are doing what you think they're doing. See if you can make them as similar as possible on each side. They do usually move a little differently one side to the other, so just good to notice as they roll in and out. And then just noticing how, as they roll in and out, that changes the feeling all the way up through your legs, into your tummy, into your lower back. And then we'll just bring them to that nice middle position. So a little lift under the inside of each arch. We'll pick up the toes, really spread the toes apart. See if they can stay spread as they relax back to the mat. You can soften through the knees, and we'll just tilt the pelvis backwards and forwards a few times. So just getting that bit of flexion and extension through the lower back. And just check knees stay soft, shoulders are staying in the same spot, upper back's nice and relaxed. It's just that lower back tilting, or the pelvis tilting to move the lower back. And then coming into neutral, so you've got that little bit of lift through the tummy. Travel wide and across the collarbones. Just let that head float up towards the ceiling, so you feel the neck lengthening, a little bit of lengthening all the way up through the back of the body. And have another couple of deep breaths there. Notice if you're making any effort to hold that position, and see if you can reduce that effort. Keep that lovely alignment, that feeling of lengthening. As you breathe, just let the body really relax as you breathe out. Nice big breath in, filling the body up with air. So when you're ready, on a breath in, we're going to bring those hands out and around and just rest them onto the top of the head. Draw the shoulders up to the ears, and then breathe out, release the shoulders and release the arms. Just nice and easy, breathing in, shoulders up to the ears, breathing out, releasing them down. Just keep going, and maybe notice which hand you tend to put onto your head first. Is it always the same one? And if it is, maybe just change that around. So you've got the other hand just resting on the head lightly first. And all the time, head still floating up, that nice length through the neck. So on the next one, we're going to pause with those hands on the head. So draw the shoulders up to the ears, release them down. Keep the hands light and just turning to one side, keeping the elbows wide. And then turning to the other side, keeping the elbows wide. Back to center and gently release. Same again. Breathing in, shoulders come up, releasing down. Keeping the hips pointing forwards, just rotating through the upper body to one side and then to the other side and release. We're going to do that twice more. Really let those shoulders sit nice and heavy once they've sunk down. Rotating to one side and rotating to the other side. Last time. Shoulders up to the ears. Let them sit really heavy. Stay heavy as you rotate to one side and to the other and release. Well done. We have a little roll through the shoulders. So we're going to interlace the hands and we're just going to breathe out, send them forwards, round through the upper back and let the head drop. And then breathe in to bring the hands back towards you and breathe out to take them up towards the ceiling. So as you breathe out and reach forward, really rounding through that upper back, getting a stretch in between the shoulder blades. Breathing in to bring the hands back and breathing out to reach up. Okay, one more before we pause. And then just pausing with those hands out in front, change the interlace of the fingers so you've got the other little finger on the bottom. And then off we go again, breathing out to reach and find the stretch across the back of the body. Breathing in to bring those hands towards you, breathing out to reach up. That's it. Okay, two more. Last one. And let those arms come down and have a little shake. So we're going to come into some little narrow squats. So we'll go arms as well to start with. Check those feet are nice and parallel. You've got equal weight at each big toe, little toe and heel. And then we're going to breathe in to send the seat bones backwards, hands forward, and breathe out to come back up again. So just really check you've got that equal weight into each foot. Weight coming into the heels as you sink down, and then squeezing down through those heels as you come back up. And as you breathe in and sink down, maybe think about those seat bones widening. And then as you breathe out and come back up, seat bones draw towards each other. And just really try to send the seat bones backwards so you're keeping those knees more or less above the ankles. Don't want those knees coming too far forwards. So we're just going to have a little play. We're going to take more weight into one foot now. So as you come down, take the weight into one foot and keep it there as you come back up. And we'll go for 5, 4. So we're making it purposefully unlevel. 3, 2, and 1. Come back up. Bring that weight across into the other leg, and we'll do the same again. So 5. And just notice how that feels. Quite often, it'll feel easier to keep the weight into the one than the other. 3, 2, and 1. And come back to center. Really equal weight into each foot. 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. And we're going to do the same again. Bring that weight across into one leg. We'll go for 5, 4. Keep that lift through the tummy, shoulders nice and relaxed. 2, and 1. Bring the weight across. 5. Counting down, keeping those shoulders wide. Might be getting a little bit warm, keep the breath going. 2, and 1. And I'm going to do one last set in the center. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And come back up. So we're going to alternate now between a forward fold and a squat. So we're going to kind of stretch the hamstrings and then work through those quads. So coming into your squat first, just send those seat bones backwards, hands forward. We're going to hold. I'm going to try and hold for 5 breaths. So if you're happy with your hands up there, that's great. If you need, or it's more comfortable for your shoulders to rest on those knees, that's absolutely fine. Nice deep breaths. Feeling a bit of warmth building in those thighs there. Hands up towards the ceiling or forwards if you want to, totally up to you. A bit harder work with them there. And then from there, you're just going to let the upper body come down and forward. So hands find the floor and seat bones go up towards the ceiling. So you're now coming into the hamstring stretch. We're just going to hold here for a couple of breaths. Let the crown of the head hang down, shoulders nice and relaxed. Keeping the knees as bent as you need to. So as long as you're finding that bit of stretch, that's all that matters. And then when you're ready, you're just going to drop that tailbone and come straight back into that squat position. And hold. And breathe. We'll go for 3 more nice big deep breaths. Either hands forward or resting on those knees. Don't have to do what I do, I'm just demoing, but wherever you're comfy. If you're happy with those arms up, that's great. If you need a slightly easier option, hands down. Okay, once you've done your 3 breaths, then just fold forwards at those hips. Let the seat bones go up towards the ceiling, crown of the head down towards the floor, and just breathe there. Couple more nice deep breaths. And then again, just dropping that tailbone straight back into that squat position and hold. Shoulder blades sliding down the back of the rib cage. Keep that lift through the tummy. Keep breathing. Go for 2 more breaths. And then forward fold one last time. Just let the crown of the head hang towards the mat again, seat bones up towards the ceiling, just breathe there. You might find you can just allow your head to come a little lower, maybe find a little bit more stretch. And then when you're ready, you're going to really bend those knees, drop the tailbone and just gently unroll back up to stand. Well done. Okay, let's have feet wide. We have toes towards 2 and 10 o'clock. We're going to do some wider leg squats. So shoulders staying above the hips. Imagine you've got your wall behind you and you are just breathing in to sink down, breathing out to come back up, breathing in to slide down the wall, breathing in to come back up. I think I said the breath the wrong way around there, honestly. It sounds good, and then I feel like I've heard something different. So breathing in to sink down, breathing out to come up. Whatever I said before, breathing in to sink down and breathing out to come up. And just again, thinking about those seat bones widening as you come down and then drawing towards each other as you come up. And that weight into the heels of each foot, equal weight into each heel as you come down and then squeezing up again. That's it. So we're going to do that little purposeful unlevel distribution of the weight. So bring a little bit more weight to one side. See if you can keep the weight more into that one leg. So it's like you've just brought your body away from center. It's come over towards one leg a little bit more. That's it. And we'll just go for 2 and 1. And then take the weight over to the other side, sinking down. Going back up. So it's a bit of a coordination challenge. Obviously, one leg is not going to straighten quite as much as the other. Now we come away from centre. But we just want to feel that one side working harder than the other. It's just this idea that if we're maybe a little bit away from centre naturally, let's just go one more this side. And then come back to centre. If you're a little bit away from centre naturally, if you purposefully take yourself more in one direction and then the other, it helps your body to find a truer centre is the idea. Work more equally through each side. Okay, go for one more, and then we're going to go lifting one heel. I'm going to just keep that heel lifted now. So a slightly different way of making it asymmetrical and different through one side to the other. That's it. So keeping the lift through the tummy, shoulders nice and relaxed. Go 2 and 1, and then switch those heels over. The body staying central this time, just keeping that one heel lifted as you come up and down. That's it, looking good. And we will go for 2 and 1, and then let that heel come back down. Sink back down into that squat, and we're going to lunge across and reach. And then we're just coming straight across through the centre over to the other side. Lunge and reach. Nice breath out to reach all the way across. Breathing in to come through the centre. You're just trying to get as much length from the toes on that one foot to the fingertips on the hand on the same side. And then we're going to take that all the way around. So let that arm come over, roll around through the centre, lunge to the other side and come up, and go back the way we came, lunging across, letting the arm come all the way around, over to the other side and up. And then back again. So finding that stretch, letting the upper body really relax as you come through centre. Feel a little bit like a rag doll as you let that body roll around through the front. Go one more in each direction. That's it, last one. And back to centre and back up. Well done. Okay, let's come and do some roll down. So we'll have feet hip width apart, knees nice and soft. Have a breath in and just grow a little bit taller. And then breathe out and slowly peel yourself down towards those feet. Doesn't matter where you get to. Pause for a breath in at the bottom. Breathe out. Tuck the tailbone, lift through the tummy and roll. Slowly back up again. And same again. Breathing out to peel down. Breathing in to hold. Breathing out to peel back up. And then we're just going to use that same idea. We're going to take more weight into one leg. So you're going to think about peeling your body down in front of one leg rather than central. So we're just literally just coming over a little bit and then breathing out, peeling down. So you feel like this one leg is supporting all of the weight, the other is just resting. Breath in at the bottom, and breathe out, peel back up, keep the weight over that one leg. Come to centre at the top, bring the weight over the other leg and just peel down in front of that one. So the other foot is nice and light. You're still keeping the knees nice and soft. Breath in at the bottom, breathe out, slowly unroll back up. And we'll just do that again, coming over to the other side, keeping the knees soft as you peel down. Breath in at the bottom, breathing out to peel back up. Weight across to this other side. Body slightly centered over this one leg. Breath in. Breathe out and peel back up. And then we'll just do 2 more, keeping that weight really equal again. So breathing out to peel down. Really think about that weight being central, the body being central. Breath in at the bottom. And then breathe out. And peel slowly back up again. Well done. So we'll just peel down one last time and we will pause at the bottom. So either letting those fingertips rest on the mat or on your shins, shoulders nice and relaxed, and then lifting the one heel, squeezing the other heel down into the mat. So just pedaling out through the back of the legs there. Just notice how that feels through each one. Whether the stretch feels the same on each side. And we'll let let both heels come down, bend the knees, walk the hands forward and come down onto the mat. So I'll have wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, top of head reaching forwards, shoulder blades slightly drawing towards those back pockets. You've got a nice long neck, and then we'll just have that little sway side to side. So again, just noticing how you feel as that weight goes to the left hand and knee, and then to the right hand and knee. Whether one direction feels a little bit more familiar than the other. And then slowly bring that weight back to center. And we're going to work into cat. So breathing out, tucking the tailbone, rounding the back up towards the ceiling. Breathing in, lifting that tailbone, lengthening back to neutral. And just work nice and slowly, really emptying out all that air as you breathe out and round up. And lengthening back as you breathe in. Just notice how the back feels. Notice if you keep that equal weight into each hand and each knee. If you feel like each seat bone moves equally as you tuck the tailbone and round up. And then lift the tailbone and lengthen back. If you'd like to work a bit harder, as we breathe out and round the back up towards the ceiling, we're going to bring one knee forward towards the forehead. And then release that back and lengthen back to neutral. Same on the other side. Really round up, draw that knee forwards and up. And then breathe in to release back and to neutral. So again, really emptying out all that air as you breathe out, round the back and draw that knee forwards. Then go for 3 more with each knee. 3, 3, 2. Just check those shoulders, although you're pushing the floor away to round up, they stay nice and wide and nice and relaxed. 1 more on each side. And then just drop the tailbone back to the heels for a moment. Give those arms a little bit of a breather. Maybe roll the wrists around if you need to. And then we're just going to come up and do a little set of those tricep push-up thingies. Technical term thingies. So come back up onto hands and knees. Again, shoulder blades drawing away, or shoulder blades drawing towards the back pockets, top of the head reaching forwards. Find that little bit of lift through the tummy. And then we are going to breathe out and bend the elbows so they come back towards the wall behind us and allow the nose to come down towards the mat and then push back up again. So your weight is coming well forwards. Your nose is trying to touch the floor, a good handprint in front of the end of your fingers. And you're trying to keep that feeling that your rib cage stays floating away from the mat a little bit. So there's no sort of sink. It's just literally your elbows bend and you pivot forwards on those knees. So if those elbows are coming back towards the wall behind you, you should feel those triceps working pretty hard, pretty quickly. So try and keep the feeling of the rib cage kind of pushing up into those shoulder blades. In fact, let's just pause and do a couple of scapular isolations. So have a little pause, breathe out, let the rib cage sink down. Breathe in and float the rib cage up. Just do that a couple of times. And you want to feel, as you're doing that little tricep press or little press up, that you keep the feeling of the floating up of the rib cage. So do one last scapular isolation, sink down with that chest, and then float the chest back up so it's pushing those shoulder blades apart. See if you can keep that feeling as you then bend the elbows and let your nose come down towards the floor and then push back up again. So it's just the elbows bending, nothing else really changes through your position. I'm just going to go for 3 more. 3, 2. And one last one. 1. Push back up and then drop the tailbone back to the heels. Take the knees a bit wider, walk those hands forward and just breathe into the back of the rib cage there. And then when you're ready, just walk those arms across to one side. Stay nice and low, shoulders parallel to the floor. Just breathe into that long side of the body. As you breathe in, you can feel your ribs opening up, increasing that stretch a bit. And as you breathe out, just empty out all the air, really soften, relax, let those ribs sink back again. And then when you're ready, walk those hands back across to the other side. Find a stretch into this side of the body and breathe into it. And again, as you breathe in, really feeling those ribs opening up, increasing the stretch. And then as you breathe out, just relax, soften, let those ribs sink back. And then when you're ready, walk those hands back to center, walk them back up towards you, and we will come over onto your backs. We're going to work into bridge first, so have cushion somewhere nearby, but we don't need it straight away. Just bring yourself down onto the mat. Give yourself a bit of time to get comfy. Length through the back of the neck, feet hip width apart, heels a little closer in towards the bottom. And then just check those arms are really reaching long. You've got those shoulder blades drawing down the back of the rib cage. And then just have a couple of deep breaths and notice where you feel the contact through the back of the body with the mat. Just think, as you breathe in, really fill the body up there. And as you breathe out, just let the body sink and soften down into the floor. Maybe think about whether you could find any more contact with the mat across the back of your shoulders. And then we'll try and relax into that. So with the breath out, you just sink and soften. So when you're ready, we're going to breathe in and gently roll the pelvis away from us so the tailbone pushes down into the floor. And then breathe out, roll the pelvis towards us so the lower back flattens into the mat and the tailbone comes a little away from the floor. And just rolling gently backwards and forwards with that pelvis. Again, getting that little bit of extension through the lower back and then that little bit of flexion. Just notice as you roll backwards and forwards where the contact is. Is it equal on both sides of the back of the pelvis? Through the lower back, the back of the rib cage. And then when you're ready, you can start to peel a little away from the mat, holding for the breath in and then breathing out to peel back down again. Just coming a little bit further each time, working with your breath and how you feel. Those ribs stay really heavy. You can think as you peel up, those thighs are just pushing away from you. And you keep that feeling of them pushing away as you peel slowly back down to the mat. So if that's all feeling good, hold at the top of your bridge. So you lift one heel and lower, lift the other heel and lower, lift both heels and lower, and then peel slowly back down again. So really setting that position at the top of the bridge, everything stays the same, just lifting one heel and the other,
and both, and down, and peeling back down again. Just making sure you're keeping those ribs really heavy and connected all of the time, so they're not popping up towards the ceiling, keeping the tailbone tucked. So let's just go for one more set. One, and then the other, and then both, and then peeling back down. Grab your little head cushion, draw one knee into the chest, draw the other knee into the chest, and just have a little rock side to side on that lower back. Just release off through there. And then when you're ready, we'll let one leg come back down, let the other leg come back down. Feet back to hip width apart, little roll of the pelvis backwards and forwards and settle into neutral. And we're going to start with level 1 scissors today. So just checking that rib cage is heavy again. And then when you're ready, breathing out to float one leg into single tabletop, breathing in to come back down. Same on the other side. And we'll think about that leg being like the fishing rod again. So the rod is the thigh, the lower leg is the line, and the handle of your fishing rod is right down by your hip. And it's that handle that works to draw the rod up and then lower it back down again. And that should mean that that little pocket there under the middle of the lower back stays exactly the same size and shape as that leg floats up and then gently back down again. So, looking good. So we're going to work in and out of double tabletop as long as you're happy to. If you prefer not to, you just keep going with your level 1 scissors. Otherwise, next time one leg floats up, pause. See if you can just sink those ribs down, breathe out and float that second leg up to join the first one. Pause there for a breath and then breathe out, let the one leg come back to the mat, pause and then breathe out, let the second leg come back to the mat. Same again, other leg first though, so floating the other leg up first, hold, breathe out, really sink those ribs and float the second leg, hold for a breath, and then breathe out, one leg down, and then the other leg down. So just keep working with that nice and slowly, really working on this idea that your body position stays exactly the same. Just got that increased recruitment through all of the abdominals for that second leg to come up. And you achieve that by really thinking about those ribs sinking down and towards the hips. And hopefully you can maintain a neutral position coming to double tabletop. If that is at all uncomfortable or you feel that you can't maintain that position, then as always, just flatten the back into the mat a little bit more and just keep the back flat into the mat so it gives you that bit more stability. And just keep checking and using the breath, breathing out to float the first leg up, pausing for a breath in, breathing out to float the second leg up. And just be conscious of what's going on through your neck. If you can feel that that really has too much tension in it when that second leg comes off the ground, think more about flattening the back into the mat and see if that helps. You are going to get a little bit of increased tension through some of those neck muscles because actually they are attached to all of those, or they're part of the chain of all the muscles down the front of the body. So it's near impossible to keep your neck absolutely 100% relaxed if you're activating through all those abdominals. But there's a difference between positive and negative tension, so it's just tuning into what you can feel. If you're really struggling, you can have a little roll of your head side to side, see if that will release that off. We're going to just go for a couple more. And then next time you find yourself in double tabletop, we're going to stay there. And we're just going to hold. We're going to interlace those hands behind the back of the head. We're going to breathe out to come up into abdo prep and breathe in to release back again. So just staying in double tabletop. If that's not for you, you could just have your feet flat on the mat. That's absolutely fine. But either way, keeping that nice neutral position through the lower back all of the time, unless you are obviously already flat because you need that for your double tabletop, in which case that stays the same all of the time. So we're going to combine this with some level 2 scissors. So as you breathe out and come up, we're going to lower one foot to the floor. And then we're going to breathe in to release back and for that leg to come up. Same on the other leg. Breathing out to come into abdo prep, lower the foot. Breathing in for that leg to come up and allow yourself out of abdo prep. So a bit of a coordination challenge. The abdominals sort of towards the top of the abdomen are going to be having to contract and shorten. The ones lower down, they're going to have to be contracting but lengthening as that leg goes down. So we're just sort of challenging them in a slightly different way. And then we're going to go into oblique prep. So as the one foot comes towards the floor, the shoulder on that side is going towards the opposite knee. So you're taking your shoulder towards the knee that is staying up in the air as the other leg lowers. A nice breath out. As that shoulder comes up and across, breath in as you release back. Have a little breathe at any stage if you feel like you're starting to struggle. Much better to have a rest and reset than to lose your position. We're going to go one more to each side. And then if you're able to stay in double tabletop do, if you need a breather, reset. We're going to glue the legs together. We're going to take the hands up towards the ceiling and we're going to do some scapular isolation. So just going to breathe in to float those hands up and breathe out to sink the shoulders down. Keeping the back of the rib cage heavy into the mat all of the time. Again, if you can maintain neutral, that's fab. If you need to flatten the lower back into the mat, then do. One more scap isolation, and then let those shoulders sink down. And then we're breathing out to travel those hands towards the wall behind us, and breathing in to draw them around in a half circle. Just keeping those legs there. You want those knees directly above the hips, nice right angle at the knees. Might get a bit of a burn through the front of those thighs. If you need to have a pause and a reset, do. Each time those hands travel backwards, breathe out, sink the ribs down. Breathe in for those arms to come around. Then go one more circle in this direction. And then pause. Take those hands down towards the legs, open those arms wide so the hands come towards the wall behind you, and then up through the centre. And then we're breathing in for those arms to go wide, out for those hands to come up through the centre. Really check those ribs are sinking down, they're not moving. One more circle this way. Pause with those hands up towards the ceiling. Bring those legs back to hip width apart. This time, both hands traveling towards the wall behind you, one leg reaching away, and then that leg folds back as the arms come around. This is getting pretty tough. Have a breather whenever you need. If it's too much, bring those feet back to the floor, and you can slide one leg along the floor as you take those hands back overhead, and then that returns as those arms come around. This is the last bit of this set. We're going to go for 3 more on each leg. 3, 3, nearly there, 2, and 2. Last one each side, 1, and 1. Oh my goodness, and then curl into a little ball and have a good roll around. Well done guys, good work. Let's roll around in one direction, roll around in the other. And then if your body likes a nice full body stretch, you can stretch one leg out, stretch the other leg out. Both those hands back overhead. Nice deep breath into the front of the body. Just feel that bit of stretch through those tummy muscles. And then just let those arms come back. Let one foot come back in, let the other foot come back in. So we are going to come up and do some roll-ups with rotation. So either roll yourself to one side and push yourself up, or draw the one knee in, draw the other knee in, and just have a little roll up to sit. So if anyone's back isn't so keen on the flexion that we do in these roll-ups. You could always come onto your front, do some swimming legs or arms or a little bit of extension, but I think everyone this evening is probably okay with what we're up to. So sitting up on top of those seat bones, legs hip width apart, knees slightly bent. We'll just rest the hands on the knees for a moment. Collarbones wide, head floating up. And we'll just see if we can get that little bit of tilt backwards through the pelvis, that bit of flexion just through the lower back. So if you imagine that pelvis like the bowl of water, you are just trying to pour a little bit of water out of the back of the bowl and then coming back to the water being level in the bowl. So those shoulders are staying wide, just trying to get that roll backwards off the seat bones, pour the water out the back of the bowl and then come back to level. So you should really feel like you sort of scoop out through those lower tummy muscles as you really try and pour the water out of the back of the bowl and then come back to neutral. So just do a couple more like that. Last one. And then we'll have those hands out in front. Again, collarbones wide, shoulders really heavy. And then we're going to tap the tailbone, roll off those seat bones and keep rolling, keep scooping out through that lower tummy. Think about the feet reaching away from you a little bit. Hold. Have a couple of breaths there, just keeping those shoulders heavy, head floating up. You should feel those tummy muscles working pretty hard. And then when you're ready, breathe out. Draw the ribs in, roll yourself forward, come over those seat bones, and then stack up from the base of the spine to the top of the head. We'll just go same again, really getting that roll backwards, tucking the tailbone, scooping out through the tummy muscles, reaching the feet away from you. Hold, a couple of breaths here. Feel those tummy muscles working, keep that tailbone tucked. And then when you're ready, breathing out, draw the ribs in a little bit more, roll yourself forwards over those seat bones, and stack up nice and tall. So we're going to add some arms in. Breathing out, tucking that tailbone, rolling back, collarbones wide, hold. Keep all of this the same, just lifting through the one arm and gently back down, and then the other arm, gently back down, and then both arms, gently back down. And we're doing another set. Keep reaching those feet away. One, other, both, and then tuck the ribs in, roll yourself forwards, come over those seat bones, and stack up nice and tall. Same again. Tuck that tailbone, roll back. Really keep those ribs connected as we go. One arm, other arm. Keep the head floating up, shoulders sinking down. Both arms. Same again. One, other, both. Tuck those ribs in, roll yourself forward. Find the seat bones, stack up nice and tall. Going to add a bit of rotation now. We're going to come in and out of this position. So we're going to breathe out, roll back off those seat bones and simultaneously open one arm and twist to the side. Breathe in to come back up through the center and then breathe out to tuck the tailbone, roll back and open up to the other side. Breathing in to come back. So just keep working with that nice and slowly. Really get that roll backwards, tuck the tailbone. Keep the ribs connected as you open the one arm. Coming back to center, same the other way. Keep the ribs connected as you open the other arm. All the time, that head's floating up, shoulders sinking down. Keeping that hand in front of you, straight ahead, reaching forward. So really having to open up and get that rotation. We're going to go for 3 more to each side. 3, 3, looking good guys, 2, and 2, and last one each side, 1, and 1, and come back up in the center, and then just have a little fold forwards, stretch into the back of those legs. Arms down and then step back up. So we're going to do a bit of work for the back of the body now, as long as shoulders are all right. So this is quite strong, just, I'm sure we have all done this before. Jeff, maybe have a little look, I'm not sure if this one we've done on Zoom. So you're going to have your hands back a little bit behind you, either fingers pointing forward or out to the side or back behind you, it doesn't matter. But really lift up out of those shoulders, wide across the collarbones. Legs together, reaching really long. And you're going to think about really tucking the tailbone and then scooping bottom up and away from the mat. Hold for a breath in at the top there, and then just allow the bottom to come back to the mat. So it is strong through arms and shoulders. If that's not for you, again, I'd probably come onto your front, do some swimming, either arms or legs, or 4-point kneeling, that kind of stuff, arms and legs. As long as we're all right, let's go again. Really scoop the tailbone, working through the back of the legs, back of the body, collarbones wide, hold at the top there, and then breathe out and gently back down again. So just do 2 more exactly the same as that. Keep that lift out of the shoulders all the way through the movement. Breathing out to scoop the tailbone and come up. Keep lifting out the shoulders as you let the bottom come back to the mat. Last one like that. Hold. And then gently back down again. So we're going to add a leg lift. If you don't think that's for you, you are very welcome to just have a little lie down and curl into a ball, because this is the last bit. But if you want to try it, work a little bit harder, we're going to peel or scoop that tailbone up and hold. Try to keep the pelvis as level as you can. Float one leg up and gently back down. Same on the other side. Just go for 1 on each side and then lower back down again. Twice more if you've got it in there. Don't worry if you haven't, just let yourself back to the mat and have a breather. Breathing out to float the one leg up. Breathing in to come back down. Breathing out to float the other leg up. In to come back down. Have a little release and pause. Last one. Scoop the tailbone. Hold. Breathing out to float one leg. Breathing in to come back down. Breathing out, float the other leg. Breathing in to come back down. Well done. And if you're not down on the mat already, either lower yourself down or just have a little roll down. Find your head cushion. Draw the one knee into the chest, draw the other knee into the chest, and have a good little roll around. Well done, guys. So just come back to a nice central position. We'll keep hold of one knee into the chest. Pop the other foot on the foot, other foot on the foot, other foot on the floor, and slide it away. And just breathe into the front of that open hip. And as you breathe out, pushing the heel on that straight leg away. And as you breathe in, just relaxing through that foot. Breathing out to push the heel away. Breathing in just to relax through that ankle. Hopefully you can feel a little bit of a stretch through the front of that hip on the straight leg as you push the heel away, breathe out, empty out all that air. You want the back to stay nice and flat into the mat. Just go for one more. And then draw that leg back in. Hold on to that leg nice and close to the chest. Pop the other foot on the floor. Slide it away. Same on this side. Breathing into the front of that open hip. Pushing the heel away as you breathe out. Breathing into release. Just notice how it feels this way around compared to the other one. Just one more. And then release. Let both those feet come so they're flat on the mat, legs glued together, arms a bit wider, and we'll just let those knees gently roll to one side, look over the opposite shoulder. Nice big breath in there, breathe out, roll the knees across to the other side. Nice big breath in this position. So each time You're pausing for your in-breath, just breathing into that top side of the rib cage, really feeling those ribs opening up, breathing out to draw those legs back across. Just letting the head roll in the opposite direction. So you might want to keep going with that. If you want to make it a little bit stronger, you can cross the one leg over the other. We'll just do a couple to each side with those legs crossed. And then come back to center and just change the cross of the legs. Same again. Come back to center. And then just unravel for a moment, just kind of rearrange yourself so you're nice and centered, and then we'll cross one ankle over the other knee. Reach that knee away from you. If you want to draw the second leg in to make it a bit stronger, do. And then if you want to have a little roll side to side, whichever position you're in, feel free. If you have got that second leg drawn in, you're trying to keep that tailbone reaching for the mat. So the back stays nice and long and flat, really isolating the stretch into the muscles around the hip. And then just gently come to center and release, and we'll do the same on the other side. Just noticing how it feels this way around, and again having that little rock or roll side to side if you want to. And then just come to center and gently release. Roll yourself over onto one side and just have a little stretch into those quads. So just coming to hold that top ankle or foot. Really tuck the tailbone, make sure the ribs are sinking in, and then think about drawing that foot towards your bottom and that knee back in line with the hips. So just getting that stretch down through the front of the quad. Just breathing into that. Just check your knee hasn't popped up towards the ceiling. You want it nicely in line with that hip, so you're really getting the stretch through the front of that leg. Just hold there for a few more breaths. And then gently release, and you can either roll over or just spin yourself around, and we'll just do the same for that other leg. So drawing that heel in towards the bottom, tucking the tailbone, keeping those ribs sinking in and down. So you're keeping the back in a nice neutral alignment, just getting that stretch through the front of that leg. It's really easy for your back to arch in this position. So just keeping that tailbone tucked, ribs connected. And notice if it feels the same on this side or not. Trying to draw that knee back in line with the hip. Just keep breathing into the stretch. And then gently release, just push yourself up to sit. You kind of sit with both those legs straight out in front of us. If you want to sit up on a block or anything like that, just to be a bit comfier, please do. Toes pulling up towards the ceiling. We'll have a breath in to reach up, and then a breath out to come down towards those feet. Doesn't matter where you get to. You hold on behind the back of the calves, back of the thighs. But just getting that stretch into the back of the legs, back of the body. We'll have a little play with pushing the toes away from you and then pulling them back towards you too. Just getting that little bit of movement through there, through the stretch. Just really nice deep breaths, trying to relax into that stretch as best you can. And then when you're ready, slowly walk those hands back up towards you. If you're comfy, come to a position where you've got legs crossed, otherwise you can leave those legs straight out in front of you or take them out wide. And we'll have a breath in to reach up and a breath out to twist to one side, and just breathing in, growing a little bit taller, breathing out, maybe twisting a little bit more. Really letting those shoulders sink down, keeping them nice and wide. Gently release, breath in the center, hands come up towards the ceiling, breathing out to twist the other way. Same again, as you breathe in, just growing a little bit taller. As you breathe out, maybe twisting a little bit more. And release back to center. Just change the cross of the legs if you've got those legs crossed, and we'll just have a little bit of work into a little side bend. So just bringing that one hand up towards the ceiling, breathing out to side bend over, breathing in to come through the center, breathing out to go the other way. And if your elbow comes down to the floor, that's great. If it doesn't, really doesn't matter, just supporting yourself a little bit with that hand on the floor. Breathing in, really lengthening up through the center. Breathing out to come over. Just go one more to each side. Okay, so we're going to make our way up to stand. If you're happy to, you could roll forwards over those legs, but just coming to a position where you've got those toes tucked underneath, you can roll back over them. Keep the hands on the mat, take the hips up towards the ceiling. We will just have another little pedal out through the back of the legs here, lifting one heel and then squeezing the other heel into the mat, and then switching over. And then we'll let both heels come down, really bend through those knees, drop the tailbone and gently unroll back up to stand. Well done, and we will finish. Big breath in, reaching up, 2 more. Last one. Good job, well done team, really well done. Let's bring you all back in.